Just because you hear the silence, that doesn't mean that I'm being quiet. I'm praying. My head, my heart, my chest, my stomach, my hands, my knees, my ankles, my feet. Those visibly steady. Many times they're uneasy in so many. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a wonderful, wonderful rainy day in Dallas. It seems like it's raining all over the world.
It has been and will continue.
So good to see you, Dr. Mack, even though we know we do our prep before. We see each other sometimes like 15 minutes before, but it's still good to see you every time the camera comes on. And so to everyone else, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mother's Board Inc. with Dr. JJ McCollister and yours truly. So it's just wonderful, wonderful. So Dr. Mack, would you like to do our opening prayer today?
Father, we thank you for all that you have given us, and we ask that you forgive us for those things that we have done that were not pleasing in your sight. And God, give us the wisdom to continue to walk and be true believers in your word. Please, God, help us not to cause anyone to be upset from our comments that we make today. And just remember that we're sharing a point of view, and it's all done in an effort to bring clarification to the news stories and the other areas of interest. These and thy blessings I ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So, yes, we have some great, great topics for today. We have several, so we will just get right into them. Number one, the administrator for Doge will be leaving this position. What reason has been given for his impending departure?
Well, I'll take that one first if you
Okay,
want. Well,
okay.
there actually is a rule. Uh, it's been hinted at several times when his boss said that he would be leaving. But even before he went in, he had a 4 month stay. And he has a few days leaving. And according to some of those who are keeping up with it, he'll be leaving on or around May 1st.
Mhm.
He was there just to do a job, to do that particular job. But they said there's no animosity. In fact, they're still close friends. He'll still be an informal advisor, because he believes everything that's said, but he cannot stay. And the second reason is that he's losing tons of money, between the vandalism and the sales going down. He's losing lots of money. But there's a law because he did not take a cabinet position. That's it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes. And that 130 days is what he's
That's it.
supposed to be. And they are saying that officially now, even though they went in, uh, they swore the person in January, but they're saying that the position that he had, and it said that he is, well, really, what he is a personal advisor
Right.
to the office of the presidency. And then there's a lady who is really the administrator,
Right.
but they're getting these mixed up. They're thinking he's titled the administrator, but he's not. He's really supposed to be the advisor to the office of the president, but we know that, of course, it seems like he's running the whole thing. And it said the let me see, is that the no? That's not. That's the Constitution I'm looking at right now. So I'm not gonna. Oh, I have to get right into this. I have my program here, so I have to get into that so I can just okay. Now let me scroll. My mouse has been acting up since yesterday or the day before, so I'm trying to scroll, but it's not letting me. But anyway, it gave the lady's name, who the administrator is of it, and they changed the name from what was it originally called? The department.
Department of Government Efficiency.
Okay, that's what they changed it to.
The two.
Uh-huh. But there's I have that information here, but this mouse is not letting me. Oh, there it is. Oh, mouse, don't give me that information. Okay. Now, okay. He was appointed as senior advisor to the
Right.
president and leader of the DOGE. However, court filings have called into question his role with Doge, stating that he is a senior advisor of the president rather than leader of Doge. And then the court filings also stated that the department is distinct and separate from the White House. The White House later announced that Amy Gleason,
Mm-hmm.
former official at the U.S. Digital Service, was the acting Doge administrator. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I saw in here where they said that that was the name of it before they changed the name, the U.S. Digital Service. So he, well, anyway, he's doing as much as they let him do. But like I said, it'll soon be over. It'll
What
soon.
is it? Turn out the lights. The party's over.
The party is
Hello.
over, and with the protests and everything. So, and so anyway, it's happening. But like I um anyway, okay, we'll go to the
But,
next one.
but yeah, we
Okay.
saw that. We remember when she was appointed, because
Hmm.
that was right after the cabinet members and other members of Congress going, wait a minute, this is not how it's done. So they put her in there, but and I hate to say acting, but they put her in there that because he did appear to be making all the major decisions. And keep in mind, this all of the things that are happening now. This administration practice. They had 3 years to practice all this, and they had some other support that you haven't even seen yet. And that's the part that's scary.
Hmm.
But he will be leaving. How shall we say it? He will no longer be out front. He'll be, but you had to give it to him. They knew approximately how long it would take for people to get upset.
Yeah, of course. They study human behavior anyway. Okay,
Yes,
we'll do this, and so we know that we'll give them so many weeks. We know they'll get upset, like you're saying. Give them so many weeks, and then they'll simmer down, and then we'll throw something else at them. So it's just a pattern of how,
yeah.
just a pattern. Yes, and so I wanted to do some more about this, talking about that position, and then
Mhm.
the white. They said the White House confirmed. Now they went on the 20th, but they confirmed that that role that he has, the Musk, started officially February 3rd,
Right.
and but it's not clear exactly when his time working directly for the government began, and that's for sure. And so this the designation allows him to work for the federal government with or without compensation for 130
In
days.
30 days. And he is working according to his boss without compensation. Because
Oh, with direct
he's not being paid. Well, he's not being paid directly.
not not exactly a paycheck for that, but like they say, he's getting
Contract.
an estimate of $8 million per day from us.
Contracts.
Yes, ma'am.
All of the
Yes.
contracts that he has.
So hey, he doesn't need that penny pennies on a dollar. He's already getting paid.
That's true. That's true.
Uh-huh. And another thing, we didn't cover that in any of these discussions, but I am so glad that it didn't turn out like he wanted in Wisconsin.
Oh, I didn't.
I am so.
I was I was sitting up and I said, okay, this was gonna go this way. And then with Florida, I said, oh, that's hopeless down there. You know. But I may be wrong because who knows? You just don't know how things are working behind the scenes.
Mhm.
You know, as they used to say back home, who's throwing their rocks and
And
hiding
hiding
their, we have no idea who's actually doing that.
for real, for real. And another thing I thought about, I say, and it comes to me that we have some things to pay for as a whole, a nation,
Oh
because
yeah.
this nation has done so much evil and is still doing evil. And so these things, just like the children of Israel had to pay, and they had to go into captivity and
That's
for
right.
things that they did, their disobedience and all of that. Then God allowed unjust rulers to come in and put them
Yes.
under bondage and everything, so that they could see, hey, you're messing up, you messed up, you're disobedient, and you're not the best. Even though they're God's chosen people, they were some terrible people, just like the whole of the things that are going on in here. So there is a debt to be paid, and then
Mhm.
there's some things that have to be reckoned with. And I was thinking of like the people now, and I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, or to, be fired or anything like that unjustly. But I thought about it, just how many of the people, not directly accusing anyone, but how many times have you called somewhere, customer service? Some of them were rude, impatient, put you
Yes.
on hold. And you don't know whether they just put you on hold just to keep from talking to you, or whether they were trying to find information. We don't know what was going on. So, in the midst of all of this, some justification is in there, in the
Yes.
midst of all of it, because things have happened, and they said, hey, like Deacon McKnight said, you might get by, but you won't get away.
Either way. I
No,
agree.
ma'am, might get by. Okay, Dr. Mack, shall we go on?
Yes.
Okay, now, what must happen to the Constitution of the United States to change one's election to a third and or fourth term to the White House?
Okay.
Okay. You want to go
Now,
ahead with that, or you want me to?
if you will, Pastor Pope.
Okay, the constitutional amendment. In order to amend the Constitution, and Franklin D. Roosevelt had terms,
Mm-hmm.
4 terms. So they made that constitutional amendment in 1951. It was ratified in 1951 on limits for a president to 2 terms in office, and this rule was established following Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4 term presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Say you learn something new every day. So
Yeah,
before,
I was excited too. When I was reading that, and then I'm like, okay, Dwight D. Eisenhower wanted it. You know, several others have wanted multiple, well, in excess of the 2 terms. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Pastor.
Oh, no, no.
No, no,
You go
go.
ahead. Okay, so this rule was established following Franklin D. Roosevelt's 4 term presidency. So before the amendment, the 2 term tradition was an unwritten rule set
Right.
by George Washington when he
Mm-hmm.
stepped down after his second term. Oh my goodness, this is great information. See, people, you see what we give you when you come on here and join us on the Mother's Board. So, the amendment states no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. It clarifies that anyone who has served over two years of another president's term may only be elected once. So this wording addresses situations where an individual assumes the presidency midterm and seeks election there uh, thereafter. Okay, so they really fixed it because they knew things like this were coming.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
and then if you know when it said, well, there are some, well, what he was saying, there's some loopholes.
Absolutely.
But this is not a loophole right here. It is really clear. So the amendment states, okay, no person. Okay, now altering a constitutional amendment requires a two-thirds majority in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, ratification from three-fourths of the states. So the
Mhm.
process ensures that any change to presidential term limits is thoroughly considered and agreed upon by a substantial majority across the political spectrum. So that's what has to take place. And
And
so,
this is why I like the mother's board. Because before then, I just knew that you couldn't do it. But once you have to go in and look it up, and you say, there's a reason why you shouldn't do it.
yes, ma'am.
And this again, to me, is part of a master plan. Because do you remember when he was campaigning, especially at the Christian with the Christian organization, the National Christian Organization? He
Mhm.
said, if you vote for me this time, you won't have to vote again. See, everything that's come out of his mouth, I mean, it's all pre-planned. But I'm hoping, I know, I'm praying God's in the work, and God has a way, you know, the ram in the bush. We
Oh,
don't know
yes.
what the ram in the bush, but there is a ram in a bush, you know. But it's amazing. And because he, in his speech Sunday, he was saying, wasn't speech, informal answers on Air Force One, he was saying, well, really, it will be my fourth term because he didn't lose in 2020. I know, but the, I'm not sure. I think anybody, just like the Supreme Court, I think all of those guys need term limits. If
Every
Biden
office.
too old, how
Right.
old will he be at the end and the beginning of another term?
And
We have to be careful with those things that we say because, they turn around and they bite you in the backside.
right.
They bite you, and if you've had so many years of a certain, just like the captivity of the Israelites, you know, you start going in that direction. It takes another act of God to turn you around. you know,
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly.
but
That
that's
is,
right on the money. The constitutional. Thank you, Pastor Pope.
yeah.
Right on the money. It's right there. That's what it will take in order to get rid of this idea of you know God sees and God knows, as my friend says. He's
Oh,
looking down. He sees.
and he acts on it too. So people, they be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And I say, man, woman, boy, girl.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen.
Yes, ma'am. Number three, have the school choice commercials that run near the what it near the news been effective. Run in the news been effective. Have the school choice commercials been effective? Why or why not,
Well,
Doctor?
it annoys me. First of all, they don't look like commercials. If you're putting them, in the same spatial relationship with the news, a lot of people are going to think that's the news. That's not the news. That's somebody for or against. Usually, it's the for school choice that I've seen more than the against school choice. But it annoys me because um, you can send those. What do you like to call it? You don't have to yell it from the rooftop. Very subtle messages and get
Mhm.
it all confused. Now, will it pass? I don't know. It seems close, but sometimes politicians will say issues are close and they're not. They're saying it so that you'll go, well, everybody else is going in this
Mhm.
direction. but they are annoying to me, and they should be labeled and understood. Now, when the candidates are running, guess what? That you know that's a message for. And by the way, they are running already. Have you seen the Republican for West Texas or wherever he's from?
Yes,
You've
ma'am.
seen this, and I'm like, come on, give me a break. I
Talking
had
about
enough.
Hunt.
Yeah.
I said I'm gonna look him up because we have a Wesley Hunt from Denison, but I don't think that's him.
No, but I'm just saying it's effective because it can be misconstrued,
Hmm.
um, and it was designed that way.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
we're just gonna have to pray for the best outcome,
Oh
and
yes.
what's good for the majority of the kids. What's good for all of them. We're not saying okay, I'm gonna subsidize, because the real kids, the kids who really need it won't ever get it.
Right.
But
Right. And the thing is, they, of course, they're making sure that the people know, and which that if they don't want you in those schools, they don't have to accept you in those
that's
private.
true.
Uh-huh.
That's
When
that's
so
that's true.
when they get those vouchers, and they, of course, more schools will be opening. Of course, you know that,
I believe
and they will not let they if they don't want you in the schools, they won't. They will not. No law is going to make them let you go to that school. And then they're also saying that it's going to uh, affect the children with special needs in a very negative way. And they're already, shortchanged anyway. And then talking about giving 300 and how much is 300 something more dollars per public school student per year. But then they're also talking about how much is it, $10,000, and some could be even more than that because they have not really told us what they're going to offer those people for those children. And so it could be a lot more than that,
I
a
sort
lot
of think.
more.
Excuse me for
Oh,
interrupting,
no, that's okay.
but I sort of think we're in the middle. We have the two houses. We have the House and the Senate, and then they're going to have to come together with something that
Hmm.
goes on the ballot.
Hmm.
And I don't think we're being real honest with the public. Just general Joe public. And Takeem Aisha's mom, they need the bottom line. Just as you just said, what is the bottom line? You know, we know it's not set up to be fair and equitable. We know that.
Hmm.
But let's at least get the bottom line. And the majority of the kids go to public school. Now, they are horrible right now. They need to be reworked. But those folks need money. Teachers need money.
That's
Teachers
right.
need supplies. Because there's so many, what the school takes on all of these other tasks, you know, and
Yes.
learning becomes at the very last.
Yes.
And then you blame them for not learning. But let's go to the next question. I'm on a soapbox.
And then they also what is the proposal for the raising the teachers pay? How much? How many $1,000 a year?
I can't remember, but yeah, I
I
did
don't.
hear that they have a raise in the work. If,
Hmm.
if, see, here we go with the voucher system, the, what is it, savings account, whatever, educational savings account there. Come on.
Well,
It
I
shouldn't
tell
be
you,
either or. Shouldn't be
and
either or.
and then talking about $1 billion don't exceed $1 billion the first 2 years, right?
Right.
That's quite a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but there are a lot of kids, and you got to think about it. Every morning, you get up. Not you, but the
I
collective
understand.
you.
Uh-huh.
You get up. You do what you do. You drop the kid off at school. You don't think about the kid unless there's a bomb threat or something. You know, and you're gonna do your duty. And the kid, you pick the kid up, or the kid gets on the bus. But they've been with some persons all
All
day,
day,
all day.
all day. Yes,
And there's
ma'am.
so much stuff that could happen that does not. That does not, because there are good people. They're trying to make sure it does.
Right. Well, anyway, they say, like you were saying, they've passed it on now, and
Yeah,
so we'll
we'll just
just
have to hope and pray.
wait and see, wait and see. Number four, following the footsteps of the Doge initiative, has someone you know been impacted by the cuts? I'm pretty sure I do know someone, but I'm. Let me see. What somebody was talking to me the other day. Oh yeah, someone was saying that he had an assignment, a 2-year contract for a job, and because of this, that contract is no longer effective. So that's for
Right.
2. So I do know somebody that's, and I'm pretty sure I know more than one person, but this person just said that not many days, too many days ago. Yeah, he's affected
Well,
by it.
I have younger relatives in the cities like Houston, Austin, San Antonio,
Hmm.
and even as my friend just said, as quietly as it's kept, the city places, the city, the cities are cutting. For instance, the well, we know the health department and the other auxiliaries, the public libraries and things like that, are being cut. Now, all of them are not in the same place, just like if they
Hmm.
were to come through with us when we were working. Some people have more saved up, some people have nothing saved up.
Right,
Some people go check to check, you know, but to just
right.
just to give them a notice, an email, and a visit from a supervisor
Hmm.
that says, okay, you have until Friday to decide.
Hmm.
April 28th, everything must be turned in. May 1st, nothing of yours must be in the building. However, in 2026, you can reapply if your job is still,
If it's
this
still there.
job is there. But you and I both know the idea. If they cut you once, they're not going to bring you back. You know, it's like Tarrant County. I've been watching what they're doing, within the county. They're
Hmm.
cutting out the refugee medical situation and this situation, and they may not have been big departments, but they served a purpose. Now, where do these people go to get the services that they need? What about the people who have been getting assistance for their utility bills, their light bills? You're cutting that department out. Parkland, it was somehow related to Parkland. You're cutting it out. So where do they go? If
Hmm.
they needed assistance before, Pastor, they need assistance now.
That's right. And need more assistance, I'm pretty sure, after all these things have been going on. I want to say hello to Maria. Hi, Ree, my classmate and my friend. So thank you everyone for watching us. So there's so much going on, but we are yet going to make it. It's been
Oh,
promised
yeah.
to us, but there are so many people who are in dire need and they're in trouble right now. And we want to tell you all, and for those who are watching, encourage someone and to just hold on, hang on in there because this too will pass. And then things are going to go for turn around for our good. Okay, well, some things have to happen. They just have to happen. So this is the process. So okay,
Oh, the
wow.
answer was yes, I do know. Someone
Okay,
said
okay, okay. With the limited information that has been released regarding the death of a high school student at the UIL competition, what do you believe will be done? Will be some of the outcomes. Well, it's sad. It's really sad. It's really sad. So the outcome, of course, the judicial process and all of that, and we still have a lot to hear. But I really try not to even listen to it. I would rather pray about it and go on because I mean, every few minutes you see it come, you hear it, especially on what is the news, 24-hour news.
Spectrum
Hmm. But
51.
they're keeping us informed though, and I appreciate it. And so that's why we have to limit our intake. We have to limit our intake. So
And
what about you, Dr. Mack? Hi everybody. Hi Vernon. Hello. Ella Mason. Hi. Bonner,
well,
Texas. I
well,
get
Well, we have to remember there are two sides to every story,
That
and we only have the one side because Kamaro's family is not saying anything. But we have to be careful that we don't make a decision on the first thing we hear because that's limited information.
exactly.
And we're talking high school students, we're talking 17-year-olds.
Mm,
And unless you have interviewed and everybody say, even if they're all saying the same thing, there's stuff we don't know. So let's just be prayerful
right.
and ask God to do what God does. You know, we don't want to say anything just at the 11 o'clock news today, all this false information on Facebook where they're trying to stir up animosity. Yeah, that's happening anyway. No one really has to go out there and stir it up.
Exactly.
But that's what we don't want. That's the one response we don't want.
And so what we're saying is, hey, we never cease or we never leave out the fact that prayer will work. And
That's
for both families involved, for everybody involved, we're praying. We're praying for each and every one. Yes, we are, because it's really a sad, sad situation. But it only takes a split second to change our lives forever, for the
forever.
good or the bad. A
Right.
split second, and it could be changed forever. So, do you have an initial reaction to the planned Muslim community that is being proposed to the north of the city of Dallas? Oh, Dr. Mack, do you want to do that? I need to find my
Okay. Well,
information up here.
again, my initial response is I know what it's going to be. I'm thinking, now that is not going to happen like that. And now you can actually hear from those persons who are opposed. You have Governor Abbott saying what he's saying about stopping it, sitting in the Texas Rangers. You have Ken Patrick saying what he's saying that's negative. You had hundreds of people at the city council meeting. Now, I don't live in the area, but it would go against precedence for that to happen.
Mhm.
Although as the lawyer for the development said, we haven't even gotten a permit to break ground, and all of this is happening. Again,
Yes.
he talked about the fake news, and but the truth is, we have to remove some of these things in our hearts to see neighbors as neighbors and not neighbors as different religious sects. We let them in here. Here again is one of those, you let them in here, and this, they're gonna want what they want. So you got the Latter Day Saints want to build the temple that exceeds state guidelines. You have this group wanting to build, to be honest with you, an almost exclusive community for their set, but you don't really get that on the south side. You don't really hear that. Well, this person over here is Church of God in Christ. This person is Church of Christ, and this one right here, I'm not sure what they are. You know, you, we almost know and we understand why,
Yeah.
but the diversity was one of the things, especially in the New Testament, that all of the disciples, apostles, etc., they talked about the inclusion, the diversity, that the Lord died for all our sins, for all
Hmm.
mankind. We have not gotten there yet.
Yeah. That's for real. And so, of course, I went into this, and
Good. Good.
I took a dive off into it. And so, this, I'm telling you, what it is they want to develop this community, just them, nobody else in there, according to what I have read and I am looking at now. It says dozens of North Texas residents are, and it's from an article. It's a story by Amelia Mugavero, and it's CBS Texas, and it's community divided over proposed Muslim focused Epic City in Collin County amid state investigations. Now, I mean, okay, like I'm like Rodney King now. Why can't we all just get along? Why you want to go out there and separate yourself from everybody? And I want to read this. Dozens of North Texas residents are speaking out about a proposed community catering to Muslims in an unincorporated part of Collin County in
Right.
Josephine. It's near Josephine. After several state investigations were recently launched into the project and the mosque it is tied to, which is the East Plano Islamic Center. And then they go on to say uh, a 4.5 hour meeting at Collin County Commissioner Court Monday gave residents their first chance to share their comments on Epic City. That's EPIC, Epic City, which is an acronym. The proposal Muslim focused community that includes 1,000 homes, a
Mhm.
mosque, a community college, and more spanning 400 acres and about 40 miles northeast of Dallas. Now that's quite a lot to be shutting yourself and making an exclusive community in these. And I understand what the government is saying. This can get out of hand. It really can. And why would you want? And I understand some people say we want to be separate from the world. We can't live effectively in our own religion if we're not separate and have our own control and all of that. But like, hey, in this day and time, we all are, like you were saying, Dr. Mack, we all can live together and we should. So why you want to go and close off like that? We all want safe, inclusive communities that require transparency, accountability, and respect for the rule of law. Epic City fails on all three, one of the speakers said. And then ideas, just a few, to allow a new group to claim and execute a 400-acre segregated city is the height of insanity, another one said. And so we understand that some people have their ideas about some be based on jealousy. Oh, these people have all this money and they can afford to do this and all of that. You know how people's minds go. But then there's a precautionary measure here too, uh, for someone to want to be exclusive, take over 400 acres, 40 miles, all by themselves. We have our own community. We have our own rules and regulations. That that can be dangerous. It can be dangerous. So anyway, I understand what both groups are talking about. I really understand that, but I don't. Did it ask me what I think? Let me see here. Uh,
Yes, you. What is it? You've
yeah.
answered it. You've
I,
answered it.
and so, hey, my reaction is that let's just all live together. Let's all live together because we're already separated anyway, and we live next door to each other in many places. So,
You
okay,
know, just as a follow-up thought to that, when you look at the Mennonites or the Muslims and not Muslims, the Mormons,
hmm
you you know, there are very inclusive communities throughout the United States. But this one, because of its proximity to Dallas, you're talking about having it grow so fast when it actually gets started. We all have to remember this is a proposal, and when the state wants to stop you, they usually do. You know,
right.
they stop funerals out there. They took away the their, but you don't have anything out there right now but grass and the fear. There's a fear factor. All
hmm
these people who believe this way are coming here. They're going to infringe upon, my rights. But then you are infringing upon that rights by not allowing them to come there. But it's just one of those things that still lets you know we have a ways to go. We still have a long ways to go.
Yes, and I can understand they're looking at these communities like what is it, the Waco? They're
Yeah, a
looking at the
compound, yes.
Jim Jones, was that the
Yeah.
man's name?
Out in
Situation, all that, and that can
Diana,
yes, that can easily happen,
the
and that's
drinking of the
what it
Kool-Aid.
looks like. That's what it looks like. So
But
I'm
they
not
haven't
saying
done
that's what it is. I'm.
just saying. But I
Mhm.
don't think that the word commune has been associated with it, but not by them. You that's a huge situation. Now, that Jim Jones thing it would have been raising an eyebrow anyway. You know, when you say the word commune to me, anyway, I'm gonna start thinking, that what makes it a commune? I don't like that whole concept. But let's just pray everything works out. But like the lawyer said yesterday, nothing's been done. They're just trying to they're going about it the right way. A commune would have just set up quiet.
Mm.
But,
Right, and
but
many have. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and you think there are not that many, but there are. It's like when my husband and I used to travel across the United States. We get into these desolate places like
Mhm.
Nebraska and South Dakota and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, God, let's pray
Mhm.
here. This car does not stop. We don't need gas. There is nothing for miles. I don't know what
Mhm.
these people wish that with. Maybe not me. So I would get him to the point that he would sometimes pull over because he would be laughing so hard. But I was serious, you know. I'm like, hey, my mama doesn't even know where to find me.
But
Hat
in
in a haystack.
and in fairness, I want to say this that the first elected official of Texas in Texas history, the first Muslim, is it Hojani?
I'm not
I
sure.
think that B might be silent. I don't know. And he's the first official, the Muslim elected official in Texas history, and he said the attack he feels like it's an attack on the project, and it's in violation of religious freedom.
See?
And he said, "I'm here to fight for every Texan's right to religious freedom. I'm also a real estate attorney. I know a lot of development in North Texas as exactly mimic
Yeah.
Epic City. So there's nothing illegal about that. This is something that we should be protecting in the state of Texas, not demonizing it." And he said, also, I think this is going to really increase the property value around Josephine. But people will be okay. I'm done with that. Okay, Dr. Mack, anything else on
No.
that one? Okay.
There's more, but I'm going to be quiet.
Me too. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us today. Okay. Now, as a religious person, what prayer and other religious scriptures would you offer to one who is or has suffered a Doge cut? I wouldn't do anything different. I just continue to include everybody in prayer, just like I always do, because everybody, whether they've been affected by Doge or not, everybody is having some kind of a problem somewhere. And so I just pray for everybody all over the world, not in particular for them, but for everybody in a
Mine would
group.
be
Hmm.
Mine would just be the to me the Lord's prayer, the prayer that He prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane,
Hmm.
and the emphasis not being on um, any hate or anger, because
Right.
like we say, this too shall pass, but it's the time of passing. The questions of how do I support my family, what happens to my insurance, those are what I like to call life questions that go on. But
Hmm.
you got to have the faith that He's going to make a way. We sing the song in the church, the Lord will make a way somehow.
Somehow.
We have to remember the Lord will make a way somehow.
And
And
then, yeah.
and even though we don't understand what's going on, and I don't think there are too many people who do, um, but we've got to hold on to the faith, as you said.
Hmm.
We have
And
to.
And we understand that there is a force at play here. Hi, Deborah. Thank you for joining us also. There's a force at play here, and everybody knows that this is a trying time. It's a trying time. So, what faith without works is dead. So, while we're praying, we need to be thinking and trying to find a way to make it and to compensate for what might not be coming in anymore. So there are programs I was watching. I don't know whether it was Good Morning America or what is the CBS this morning, where this lady, her medicine was so high, and this was kind of, I guess, she was affected by all these things that are going on. And so there are programs, and we know there are programs. You have to look for them, you have to ask for somebody to help you, but there are programs that help us compensate. Somebody out there is doing something, whether they say don't do it or they say nobody is able to help, no food banks or have sufficient supplies and everything, but there is some help out here in this world. There is some help. You might have to search for it, look for it, ask somebody, but there is help. And then another thing that I had on our list last week was, do you feel that more people will start uh, doing growing their own food now?
Mm.
So buy a package of greens, buy a package of what is it, cabbage, uh, get a chicken, get
I
your
don't know about the chicken.
baby chick, and they'll soon be laying some eggs. But anyway,
Yeah, but I'd have to have a shelter and screen work
oh yes, you have to have
and
so much to keep
their
the
particular
cats from
little,
getting them and keep them from going
yeah.
over the fence. Like we have these chickens from down the way here, right across the street on the corner down there. They come over in the yard and they be scratching the yard. And I told you about the one I think that man put off in that truck.
No,
Cause I didn't tell you about that.
no.
Well, so okay, so they might be out today too, but I heard something, "Grr, grr," and it sounded like it was in something. I saw the person get out of that. It was like a city truck, and one of the like the trash truck thing, and I
Yeah.
saw the person get out. Now I'm not saying the man picked the chicken up and put the chicken in the back of the truck, but I heard the chicken go, "Grr, grr," and it sounded like he was in a
I'm
place,
so
and every now and then he'd go, and after that truck left, I didn't hear that chicken anymore.
well,
So,
it's open range chicken. Look at that way. Open range chicken.
so these people, these eggs, I'm telling you, hey, these chickens, they grow enough eggs for breakfast and lunch. So anyway, all right. So I that was one of my things. Do you think we'll start? And I have some seeds around here I've had for years, but I'm gonna have to get some more seeds because you can grow the food in some flower pots or whatever. And so there's a way to make it. There is a way to make it. I'm pretty sure the seeds are going to go up also because they have, but those seeds will give you much, much, much food. So anyway, that's an idea also. Okay, Doctor, I'm gonna go. Should I go on, Doctor? Okay.
Yes, you can with the chicken in the truck.
The school voucher bill has advanced to the Texas House for. So what do you think, or what do you think the outcome will be? And we talked about that already. So
Mhm.
you want to add something to it?
No, we can go.
Okay. Do you think that oh, look at, we're almost finished. Do you
Mhm.
think the Wisdom Nation will ever come together as one? Have we ever been close to it, in your opinion? And I say no.
I agree. But I'm going to return it back to you so that you can explain your no and you can shift it back to me.
Okay, because it's this how was this country established? By theft, murder, disease. and all of that, and the same old things going over and over, stealing people from their homelands, buying people from their homelands, and all of the slave labor and the mistreatment of people and everything. This country is built on the backs of people that have been murdered and misused, abused, and all of that. And it's the same thing is still happening now. And then, so I mean, there's never been unity. And then they try to classify the human, how should I say that, the makeup of a human being. If you're this much of a man, if you have this kind of blood, you're this kind of person. If you have this much blood in your uh, bloodline and your DNA and all of that. So it's always been separated, never will be together, but we do the best that we can. And so this is an individual thing. It's an individual responsibility. And as much as lieth within you, live peaceable with all men. Do unto others as you would them do unto you. And so, us is a personal thing. So, when we do that, then when we do good, that good will come back to us. Cast your bread upon the waters, and after many days hence, it'll come back to you. And then what is that by when you do good to people, when you give and everything, God is going to give back to you. So there's nothing wrong with being good. Sometimes when you're good to people, you're nice to people, people take advantage of you because of your kindness. They take your kindness for weakness, but God sees everything as long as we do our part in loving mankind, respecting mankind. But you have to be also aware of your surroundings and what's going on you around you, and have a discerning spirit. But it is our responsibility to do the thing that is right, and then that will come back to us, and many times in an unexpected way.
One of the things I thought about with that question is
Hmm.
the time that I always talk to my real friends about the Star Trek, the Enterprise, the Federation, the Star
Uh-huh.
Trek Federation. Ideal situation, fictional. Gene Roddenberry was way ahead of his time. But if I want to choose something closer to home, I don't know how many of you remember the funeral service, a very extensive funeral service of Muhammad Ali. That was a time that depicted all nations, all ethnic groups. They talked about how he brought them together. And I'm thinking now of the Native Americans, the different tribes that in which he was adopted, because they associated his plight with their plight. So there was just no, the persons from the islands, even if he hadn't been there, they acknowledged him.
Hmm.
So I agree that we're going to have to work on ourselves, but I don't see it happening now. For whatever reasons there may be, there is every Sunday morning you hear the the division, the division within the nation. You hear we want to make the rich richer, and we're going to do it on the backs of the ones who don't have as much
Hmm.
money. We're going to have to put a glass ceiling up so the women will know their quote unquote place. We're going to have to do redlining so you don't move into the neighborhood because we already gated it, and we definitely don't. That's why we gated it to keep you from coming in. But you know, God is the only one that can take care of that,
And
and
he's
I
doing.
know He will,
Hmm.
and I know He will. So
Right,
we
because
just when things come up, whether there's a misunderstanding and that results in the death of someone else, we pray for everything and everybody, but we have to also pray for peace. It
hmm
takes such a little spark
hmm
to start a riot that cannot be stopped.
exactly. And we see that many of them, and they're going on now all over the world. So we'll never have a unity, and it'll never be. And then also, the scripture tells us that evil men will wax worse and worse. And we see things that are happening now in the last days. People will believe a lie before they'll believe the
The
truth.
truth.
The
Now, I
wisdom of the wise is turned backwards. All these things are happening, and we come together, like, to uh, funeralize someone, to memorialize someone, and everything. And we'll hold it together for that time, those few days and everything. But it's the same old status quo over and over again, which it is. That's just life. And so, like I say, and we agree on that it's a personal thing. So I have to make sure that I treat people like I want to be treated, and even though sometimes my feelings might get hurt, somebody might offend me, but my kindness is going to pay off. It definitely is. Not just by giving me a place in the kingdom of God, but here on earth too. So people don't ever think that your kindness is not going to be rewarded. It's going to be rewarded here in the earth and in heaven also. So continue to do good. Do good to all men and treat them like you want to be treated. But be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. We know when somebody's out to get us, and that doesn't mean fall into their trap. All right. Okay. All right, Dr. Mack. One more question. Do you think that the reports about the border crossing numbers is accurate? No, I don't. I don't, because they be telling stories.
no, I don't either. We went from 100, 134, 138,000 people crossing to a number that just is difficult to prove. Here we also have the Homeland Security persons doing commercials, which again is something I hadn't seen before. She's standing up there threatening. You have to be careful of the wording. You know, but if you're here and you're not supposed to be here, we're going to come out and get you. It reminded me of Governor Bush's "we're going to hunt you down in the cave"
Yeah. Smoke
situation.
you out. We're going to smoke you out.
Smoke you out. But it just, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I
You know,
love that
so
guy.
like if you go, if we have to chase you, we're gonna take you away and you'll never get back and da 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 da. Well, welcome to America. That is not
And the
what
audacity to say, if you know you're not supposed to be here, just go
yeah,
ahead and leave.
leave.
Well,
Yeah,
why don't you? Hey, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Hey,
my whole thing is numbers can be made to say whatever you like. Now,
whatever.
and I just don't think all of a sudden it stopped. And we're focusing because there was I believe when all of this was going on during the Biden administration, there was some incentive given in those countries to come, for the citizens to come this way. But let's not forget, there were a large number of people who came in through the airports, came in through the airports. And we
Mm-hmm.
have people coming from the northern border. We don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about what's going on up there in Oregon and Seattle and places like that. But we get people here who are not supposed to be here. But let's deport them all. If they're gonna do deportations, let's do them for everybody. Let's
If
don't pick
one,
and choose.
right. If one gotta go, all gotta go. If
You
all don't go, they all need to stay. All right. And we love you, everybody. It's 1 p.m. here Central Time. Hi, cousin Willie Pastor. It's so wonderful to have all of you here with us today. Dr. Mack, closing remarks, please.
Please join me on Wednesday for the webcast from the Biblical Files of Dr. Mack. We're going on into the book of Colossians, and we have a nice woman to talk about. And we'll continue to talk about the blacks in the Bible.
All
Just take
right.
care of yourself, and just as Pastor said, you know what? Treat others the way you want to be treated, and it'll all work out.
It'll all come back. Yes, it will. We love you, everybody. Tomorrow evening, God willing, at 7:30, which is Saturday, At 7:39 p.m. is Greater Gospel Temple Church of Praise and Worship and Inspiration of God Ministry Saturday evening Bible lesson session. And on Sunday morning, God willing, is Greater Gospel Temple Church of Praise and Worship and Inspiration of God Ministries Sunday morning, manna from heaven at 7 a.m. We love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you didn't get in on the beginning, please go back and watch from the beginning. And please share this webcast with those that you care about. And even if you don't care about them, share it anyway. Okay, thank you. Love you, Dr. Mac.
Love you too.
Love you, everybody. Just because you hear the silence, that doesn't mean